Okay, I'm back out here with Zach again, and guys, we were out here just a few minutes ago, and we've come across a pattern right here that we wanted to talk to you about. Here, let me get this turned around. You guys can see Zach. He just landed a big old
This is a
crappie.
big old male here.
Nice big old crappie. Hit the Buster Brown
Yep.
crappie kicker. And Zach is doing something here that I'd like a lot of you guys to know about. And I don't know how big a crappie we got there. But
Man, that's got to be 13 inches, 13 and a half maybe.
nice big old crappie. So
it's big.
So Zach says that sometimes when you're fishing for crappie in the evenings, what happens, Zach?
Well, you know, a lot of time, this time of year especially, when we get a lot of these, we get a good warming trend going on, 2 or 3 days. So we've been down here, our first feed, we had about probably an hour left of daylight. What we're doing now is, really what I've noticed is a lot of these crappie that, you know, we were catching fairly shallow, 5 to 6 foot of water. And what we really wanted, we were keying a lot on these brush piles that give these crappie some shade to hide around while they're, you know, waiting to come up and wanting to eat. Once the sun goes down, and I mean, you can see it's getting pretty dark out here.
Yeah, it's getting dark. I'll shine over. You can see the sunset.
So once the sun goes down, what it really does, I mean, again, we're fishing on this really big chunk rock. I mean, softball to basketball sized rock. And what that does is, throughout the day, that it heats up, the sunlight heats up all these rocks, and it really warms up the water, especially at night. And what these crappie do is they use these rocks to come up really shallow. I mean, I'm talking like a foot or two of water. I've watched the last 2 crappie hit my jig. I watched them flash on that jig. They're so shallow. And all they're doing, you know, they've been up here, you know, looking around, waiting to spawn, and under the cover of darkness, if you will, they'll get up here and they really take that opportunity to get up shallow where the water's still really warm and there's still a lot of food up here for them to eat. And that's really what I've been doing, you know. I kind of found this pattern. They really started to get on this type of deal a few weeks back, and then there's one right there. Then we had a pretty nasty cold front come through. And it took a little bit for it to get warmed back up. The water temperature fell about 4 or 5 degrees. And now that we've had a good 3 days of really warm weather, today we had some pretty big wind. But, you know, we're kind of sitting back talking. I knew that, especially with the south wind, this water warm up really quick. We had a lot of sunlight today, and it was going to stay really warm this evening. And I thought it was going to be a good opportunity to kind of show you guys how I've really been catching them. And that's really about it. You know, I don't see a lot of guys that think about fishing for these crappie, especially these big pre-spawn crappie after dark. But really, I mean, if you have the opportunity, especially like me, I mean, after work, you don't really have that much time to go put a boat in. And, you know, I really enjoy fishing from the bank anyway. But this is a really good time to do it, especially when you get 3 or 4 days of just good warm weather. I mean, it's a great time to come out here and
Before we run out of light, let me see your lure, Zach.
Okay.
Now, guys, one of the things that's really helping Zach fish from the bank right now is this is a Buster Brown crappie kicker, but Zach really likes to fish with a light jig head, and I hope you can see that. That's a 32nd ounce bait gripper jig head. So when he's up here on the bank, of course, he's really, really shallow, and when he's shallow, this jig doesn't sink very fast at all. So it allows him to cast and reel and fish a lot slower back to the bank. And that's something that you need to keep in mind. That's the original flea fly head that was built back in 1952. We just put a bait gripper barb on these heads. That's a beautiful little swim bait head that's custom to our company. Nobody else has those heads. So Zach is throwing that out. It's sinking really slow, and in the evening, it's all about feel.
It's all about feel.
Right now, it's not so much about sight, it's about feel. And this is a 2-inch Buster Brown crappie kicker, and on that 32nd ounce bait gripper jig head, it sinks really slow. Let's let him fish a little bit more. And then one of the things that I wanted to show you guys was Zach has a cool idea for all you bank fishermen, and I've never used one of these, but Zach has a little backpack. And I know this is just a little cheap rope backpack right here, that he carries on his back. And I was going to show this on the other feed, but I didn't do it. So for those of you guys that get sick of carrying a tackle box around with you all the time, you need to try one of them little cheap $5 rope backpacks. You can carry everything you want in that, but sometimes you need to stick it out. We caught a couple real nice fish on our first live feed, and then we shut it off and we walked all around the bank, and Zach said, you know what, I don't think it's where we're at, I just think it's the time of day. And in clear water, a lot of times your crappie will move shallow in the evening, especially to spawn. And right now they're up. They're not spawning, but they're looking for places to spawn, and they are definitely feeding at this point in the evening right now. We've seen some shad flip out here in the lights, and I'm gonna move down. Get one?
Yeah, he's not a big one.
Another little crappie. I don't think we got a keeper here, but now how deep was he, Zach?
He was only about, I'd say, 3 foot under the surface. I mean, really, this fish hit me. What I was doing here is I casted. I'm just kind of skipping my jig up there under the dock, and I'm a big fan of counting that jig down. And it's really, when you're bank fishing, it's all about experimenting, because you really don't know how deep those fish are. Because I mean, we don't have a locator to tell us how deep these fish are. And really, what I've been doing is just kind of counting it down, just counting seconds. And right here, I counted down about 5 feet, and I'm reeling it back. But with as light as the jig head is, even as slow as I'm reeling it, I'm still pulling it up in the water column, back up into the bank. And it was about halfway out in the bank, maybe 8 foot off the bank. About 3 foot of water is where that fish was at.
Okay, not spawning crappie, but pre-spawn crappie. I wanted to give you the tip about the bait gripper jig head. I wanted to let you know that we're fishing with a light jig head that is really nice to fish with in the evenings here. And it's all about feel, and it's all about a slow presentation. Did you get another hit?
Yeah, that one whacked it.
Did he whack it? I've got guys that are saying they can't hardly see anymore, but can y'all see? You want me to keep the live feed going, see if Zach gets another one? Yeah, you're losing light, brother. Cast, they say.
Going as fast as I can, guys.
That's how it goes. Zach, do you got a phone?
A phone?
Yeah, you got a light on your phone?
I believe I do. We can definitely try. Oh my gosh, there's another one. Here you go. Let's see if I can just
Let me get out of your way here over this cable. This cable's about to kill me. It's about killed me 6 different times today.
There you go. Yeah, hold that and see if that'll help you guys. If you can see.
There we go.
A little better.
There we go.
So I'm not making really long casts. I mean, we're on a bank here that, I mean, about, I would say 15 feet off the bank. I'm still casting in about 8 to 10 foot of water, and it comes up pretty quick. There's a little bit of a hill that comes up here, and then like the last 3 foot of the bank is relatively shallow. And I've noticed, you know, the darker it gets and later it gets, like that one. Look at that big one.
There's another crappie. Woo-wee! This is what you guys need to be doing out here. You need to find you a place on the bank. We might have to use a crappie gauge on that one.
Yeah, we're gonna have to. I don't think he's gonna measure, but we're gonna sure see if he will or not.
Bring that crappie gauge down here and spray that jig again with lure flavor. Okay, guys, we showed you the crappie gauge a minute ago. That fish 10 inches?
Nope, he's gonna be about 9 3/4. It looks like.
Not a keeper today. He's got to go back. Got to go back to the lake.
Until next year.
Zach's gonna hit her with the old bubble gum a little bit. This is one of the #1 selling products at Flea Fly.
Man, I'm telling you, they eat this thing alive.
He's got the old Buster Brown. He's got a slow presentation, so he's gonna soak it down with lure flavor. You're gonna love that stuff if you ever fish with it. It smells so good, and it stays on forever. It's not like
it really does. I mean,
not like a crappie nibble that comes off every time you yank or cast. All right, so we're gonna we've got us a light going, light system here. If I can figure,
yeah, that works pretty good.
All right.
And again, it's just, well,
Another.
kind of getting in some small ones there.
Little small crappie.
Yep.
Okay.
Might be a little bit out of his league
Now, how
tonight.
deep was that one?
Just under the surface. I mean, I'm telling you, right under the surface.
Okay. And you think that's a big deal, having that light bait gripper jig head?
Absolutely. You know, especially on a warm day like today, I always like to. I prefer to throw a heavier jig head, like 16th ounce, just so you can fish it. You can cover water a little bit more efficiently, and you're not given the option to sit there and look at it. You have to make them choose right then and there if they're going to eat it. Now, once, like you said before, once it gets dark, they rely less on sight and more on feel. So I like to slow it down. Oh my, that one pounded it. This is
that one pounded it. He liked the bubble gum.
Look how close that is to the bank. That's exactly where he hit it at.
Here we go, y'all. That's what we've been looking for right here. Zach's bucket's,
That's a big one.
Zach's bucket's filling up fast.
That's a big one, guys.
Now take these tips, guys. Take these lures. Take Buster Brown. Get you some of this stuff. You get you some crappie like that. I'm talking crappie now.
Yep.
Look at that thing.
Yeah, those are good ones.
Look at the mouth on that rascal. So, again, Zach's going to put that one up in the bucket.
Show him the bucket, see what all we got in there.
Yeah, let's go.
Didn't take us very long, you know, and just here in the last little bit, we really starting to see these bigger crappie move up. I mean, you know, look at ones like this. That's just a big one. I mean, look at those.
Crappie.
Look at this one. I mean,
well, let's make a couple more casts because we're about to completely run out of light. If I don't kill myself here with these big giant rocks. You think they slurped up the bubble gum? We had somebody say they like the bubble gum.
They like it.
People kind of think that stuff's Mickey Mouse until they try it a few times.
I'm telling you what, it only took me once and I became a firm believer in it. Don't go crappie fishing without it.
Okay, well, we are officially running out of light. We are running strictly on Zach's cell phone light right here. But let's recap a little bit, guys, while Zach's fishing. Stay out here after dark a little ways. Fish for these pre-spawn crappie around structure. There's a big old log that goes out into the water right here, but you can't see it. We're fishing around a boat dock, and these crappie have probably moved up from underneath this boat dock to the bank right here. And we got another one. Okay,
look at that one.
Look at this crappie. Ooh, here we go.
That's another really big one.
Another Slabosaurus. There we go.
Look at that one, guys.
There we go. All right. Well,
eating that Buster Brown.
Yeah, Buster Brown, the really light 32nd ounce bait gripper jig head is allowing Zach to fish that bait back to the bank really, really slow.
And that's really important. I mean, that's a lot of the big key there.
Really slow. Okay. Well, let's recap what we're doing, Zach. I'm going to shut it off.
Okay.
I think we've proved our point to these folks tonight that they needed to stay out here a little bit longer than just fishing during the day.
Yeah.
Let's see the lure one more time. And we're fishing in northeast Oklahoma on Grand Lake. We've got the Buster Brown crappie kicker, 32nd ounce bait gripper jig head. Spraying it down with bubblegum lure flavor. We got our nice little crappie gauge right there to measure our crappie width, because they got to be 10 inches here at Grand Lake. Guys, if you buy some tackle from a tackle shop in your area, make sure to go in and ask them if they don't have flea fly. What do they need to do, Zach?
All they gotta do is call us or find a dealer. We have, how many dealers do we have around?
Lots of dealers. And what if they have a dealer in their area that doesn't carry flea fly?
No, have them get a hold of us and we'll get them set up.
Yeah,
no problem at all.
We'll get these dealers set up.
Yep.
You guys are the ones that open the doors. You guys are the ones that buy the fishing tackle. So go in and ask your dealer for flea fly fishing tackle, and they'll get a hold of it. Turn this around. Be like a big ghost right here. We appreciate you guys watching the live feeds. I know this is going to help everybody catch more fish. Zach and I appreciate you guys watching. This has been a fun one. We've caught a lot of fish. I'll upload this to the YouTube channel, and this will be available for everybody to watch forever on Facebook. I'll share this to some Facebook groups. You can find our stuff at fleafly.com. Share this feed with your buddies, everybody that likes to crappie fish. We're going to shut her down. And again, visit us at fleafly.com or find us a dealer at fleafly.com. We appreciate it.